And welcome back. We had to warm the arena up after that NHL, that frigid performance of a 5-0 with all those money pucks coming out of the xGODS. Now we're going to jump into some Apex Legends.
And so we have, is this the correct lineup? We have AJ Lil Blue, Electric, and Finn versus
Snappy, Doomsday, and Lamont. Ooh.
They didn't put X-Ray Kenny in it, but is this man a shooter?
I have to believe they did it for Siege. They did it here. It has to make me believe that they brought him in to continue to raise this team's shooting level. Most teams that aren't doing well, I wanted them to find a few categories, and the Wolves have settled into being a shooter first and foremost team. They have the skill, and they now just had to build a percentage.
So I have a question for you, and it's a little bit of a controversial question. If the Wolves continue to keep this game close, right, and they end up winning it, let's say in the world the Wolves end up winning it, right? We have no Pip-Boy. How much do you go with this lineup? How well do the Wolves have to do today to consider not having Pip-Boy in their lineup? How well do they have to do? What's your opinion on that?
They need to win this game. Like, shout out to a rookie. Shout out to having an amazing first game. But unless his box score is almost flawless, it is hard for me to argue against playing Pip-Boy because giving up the fighters against not having Pip-Boy against, I think, almost any other team in the league, even the likes of like the Reapers, is a death sentence.
But here's the thing. They're not necessarily giving up fighters. Like you said, X-Ray Gurns is good at DBZ. At least one of the X-Rays is good at MK. They were doing good in Tekken. It was just a mental mistake. So at what point, let's say the Wolves going to run here, and they win 15-10. How big of a disparity do they have to be before we start asking the question? Because we've seen even this weekend that a team not play what we have expected to be their best fighter. So how much do we? What's the discrepancy have to be? Because we get Valorant now, and I guarantee you, here's the thing: Pip-Boy. I think Pip-Boy is serviceable in some of these shooters, but I think Pip-Boy would be a liability right now with how the lineup's been going for some of these games. Yes, he would have helped in Tekken, but he would have not helped as much in Siege. He wouldn't really help them that much in Apex, and he wouldn't help them much in Valorant.
I mean, if we're being honest from that Siege game, I don't think that like him being in the lineup would have been that much of a either way, to be honest with you.
But we see how
Crypto Man? So I saw he was playing Crypto. I was like, what in the world?
But we have to look at it. One person can make a difference because that one person swings the pressure.
Yeah, we have a lifeline. What game mode are we playing that we have a lifeline? Team Deathmatch, it looks like?
Yeah, this is Team Deathmatch. Do you know if we got the lifeline rework?
I don't know.
Because she was supposed to. I forget what season it was. She was supposed to be. She's a combat medic. That's what it says in there. She was supposed to be a little bit more of a combat medic where she was agile. She had a little bit of a glide. I don't know if that's happened yet, but it would be interesting. So it looks like we have Doomsday now, putting a few shots out, putting the shield, using the shield shuttle, fully heal himself before you go into that. Shooting through the stairs.
Able to first kill?
Yep, on
Sin. That's actually amazing, but has to immediately turn around. He ends up getting some defense. He helps
the
his
Gibby
rookie.
bubble out to help his team. His team needs to heal. At least who is that we're looking at? Lamani needs to heal. He needs to put that shield up. Putting the pressure on. Is he able to get another kill? Yes. So we have 2 kills just alone from Doomsday so far. It looks like we got the scan going on. There's 2 right over there. He's hiding behind the wall. Looks like
Bubble's giving out the position of the enemy team, but they already have the lead. They don't have to push this. They can just hold these angles and continue to play together and find these victories.
And what's interesting is they haven't really fought for the high ground per se yet. You see a lot of teams that opt to go to the top of that building and force you to come to them. It looks like Doomsday is playing under these covers. He has all 3 of their kills, it looks like.
I can tell you right now, the rookie is killing it. He is just, with Doomsday, they both of them leaning out together, taking these fights.
4-0 right now, by the way.
And I need this to be understood at home. Shout out to Speedy. In a world where he and I've talked about Sins and tons of times, Sin and Electric, there is no Hasaj, but this is one of the few times I think I can say visually, it looks like the xGODS are getting diffed in a shooter of all genres.
And it looks like we have Electric trying to get some shots, trying to break that defense they have going on, but unable to. With those, unfortunately, with those snipers missing those shots.
Oh my God, there's charge rifles on the top.
So it's, I mean, at this point, the Wolves can hunker down, do what teams typically do, and just kind of, hey, you have to come to us now.
This is the hard part. Like once you get down this bad, when you're down 7 kills this early in the game, we don't play a long game. You have to start taking risks. We see the immediate swap. He's now just trying to play mobility and get something done, but
at this point, it's almost 3-4 teamwork. You have to do without dying.
But it's so hard here because I haven't seen the hole in the Wolves gameplay. I haven't seen where you can get in, take a fight, and win. You're trying to just take any space you can, but it feels like they just have this building lockdown, this map lockdown, and honestly, this game lockdown.
I mean, there's game plans that you have to execute, right, to be able to break a hole into the game plan, but you also have to do it better than what they're doing. And we now have 3 minutes left in the game. You have to get a full team wipe every minute.
And they're immediately pushing, but these scans, they finally take down the rookie, and that gives them an opening, but they still have to find another kill. And it seems like the players are just willing to kind of wait and not worry about this game. Like, okay, cool, we lost one. We still have control of the high ground. We're gonna be able to play this game.
And they used the lifeline. Is that the lifeline ult that got popped up there?
If that is the lifeline ultimate, that means that they let the players... I love this on the edge, so they still have an angle to shoot down off of to continue to help out their teammate. Snappy's account is low. Snappy himself is low, but they found an opportunity, and they're managing to take these fights, these kills, without losing players. It's now up to 10-1, so one slip up from the rookie, I can forgive that, but his team looking so beautiful in this Apex gameplay. Electric's trying to make a play, though. Is he able to find it?
What a kill right there. Look at Doomsday. Doomsday is one of my favorite players. He just brings that personality and energy to everything he does.
Having funny.
And then, is that the ult that they just used?
Yes, he threw the ult to try to force, it looks like, the xGODS off of height. The xGODS aren't going to be able to run up and take the same position they were trying to. But with limited time, they don't have the ability just to wait. And so now we're looking, there's 10 kills down, Rex.
And even then, even if it doesn't get a kill, like, that ult forces you off of whatever you're trying to do. You don't. It's another time waster, essentially. And I think you only have 2 minutes left at this point. Like, I don't want to say that this game is over, but for all intents and purposes, you need a miracle at this point. And it looks like they use a Gibby all of their own.
And I feel like, good idea. You get them off of height. You can start to put yourself in a position to compete.
But the Gibby bubble and just go inside.
Exactly. Gibby bubble, it's a little bit too late. With 1 minute left on the clock, they have to find a victory. They have to just start taking these kills, and they have to just continuously kill basically for the next minute. And it looks like Doomsday said that's not going to happen.
Doomsday,
I'm going to peek these corners and take it. Like you said, make that a team wipe. Call it a hat trick.
Oh, look at Doomsday. Doomsday just like, I'm going crazy. Put him to sleep, Doomsday. Put him to sleep.
Man, I legitimately think the Wolves have... It's hard for me, because it was against the bots that we started to see this, where they started to come back after a month off and play a more organized game together. It looks like if you want to compete with the Wolves, you have to, at the very minimum, compete in the shooter category or beat them someplace else cleanly.
And you know what's really interesting if you really think about the Wolves is, have we got the Wolves Ghost game yet?
No,
those may be two of the better shooting teams. Actually, the whole conference. You think about the conference as a whole, and with a 15. Okay, so you have a Wolves team, right? Good shooters. You have the Bandits, a good shooting team. You have the Ghosts, a primary shooting team. You have the Reapers, a primary shooting team. Like, you have a lot of good shooting teams in that conference to contend with. And I would say that the Click probably hasn't had the full success they want shooters, but they are a good shooting team as well. And the Paladins have the shooters in place. Granted, they haven't had the success they wanted yet, but they have the shooters in place. So being able to contend in shooters against a team like the xGODS, which we a lot of people assumed was one of the best shooting teams. To put on a clinic like that, 15-2 in Apex. There's been multiple Apex matches where we haven't seen teams crack 5 kills, let alone putting 15 up against another shooting lineup. It's something else. With Valorant rolling that.
It speaks to the fact that when I talked to Nexus, he was very open about like, no, like we've played with them, we know they're good. He wasn't pulling any punches when saying that, and I think looking at like a 14-8 scoreline, it feels like the gap may be huge, but
3 games.
The reality is there's a 3-game difference of winning or losing. He's saying that this is going to come down to just those small moments, and right now the Wolves have been impressing me. You had one little snafu at the beginning, but they've grown now to these great players, and they're going to be able to get whoever they really want to in for Valorant.
So I'm guessing it's going to be Snappy going in. Obviously, X-Ray Kenny has to go in. Doomsday, I imagine, is going in. I want to say Lamani probably goes back in.
So I think that you take that top 6 and you leave Gurns out just in case fighters or some fighting game rolls, and you play the other 5. So minus the 3 there in that top 6 position, and let him go in and go ahead and play. They might want to send in Exile as well. I know Exile has played some of the shooters. He was on a few different teams that do enjoy the shooters as well. So we have to be able to see.
And then on the xGODS side, we see 3 of the ones that have to go in. I feel like that's not a bad 3 per se to have to go in. On the other side, you get probably Electric and Sin in. That may be their best lineup anyways. I'm not sure how good AJ is at
I feel like
Valorant.
I feel like AJ was on New Moon for so long that he has to have picked up. He has to have picked up some players. He has to pick up some of Valorant. Excuse me, that's the players. His teammates, he should have been able to pick up.
I also do feel like their best lineup may be minus Aspect plus AJ. So you're off.
Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense.
You're off one.
But this is the issue. I think that this xGODS lineup was a lineup built to run 7 players. It wasn't built to run 6. I think that we've been seeing Hasaj come in, and Hasaj admit that every shooter they had 3 players they could put in that were on the lower half of their bracket. Their top end players got to play more and to sit more and only going for more of those more specialized games, which I think ended up being super helpful. A 15-2 game, though, in Apex. Siege didn't feel close, even though there was like a great attack round. It felt like at the end of the day, the Wolves were able to repel.
And it looks like you were right. So Exile goes in.
I actually didn't expect one of the 2 of them, but Exile hasn't put some time in, so we have to see. We have to see where we're going to be able to go. So it looks like we're getting a Sage. We're getting a Cypher.
Overwatch. Oh my! And Gurns is available. Not that he wouldn't be available anyways, but saving Gurns and then Overwatch coming up. You wanted to see shooters.
I asked for shooters, and I could not in anywhere. I know production's also excited for the fact that we are getting all of these shooters. I hope you at home are as well. Now that this has come out, if
the Wolves can take the next 2 shooters, they'd be up 6-4.
I'm going to ask production. I'm going to ask production right now. After Overwatch, I want to see those tier 1s and tier 2s because I got to see exactly what this shooting lineup and what this game is going to turn into immediately. Right now, if you're looking for that Overwatch game to come up, we got to see if these tier 1s and 2s are able to go back in. But because specifically for Apex, it was Doomsday in that tier 2 position, killing it, and then on the flip side, it was Snappy, Doomsday, and yeah, the worst thing I can say is, wow, the rookie, Lamani, died twice.
Oh.
He was still slaying out with the rest of his team, putting up kills, pinging, doing his job. That entire lineup came out and killed it.
So with what kind of storyline is this you're looking at, right? So there's a few teams that haven't won this season with the Cyclone, the Wolves, and the Shoguns, right? Eventually one of those teams has to win when the Shoguns and Cyclones play. But what kind of storyline is it if the Wolves at 0-3 are able to get their first win versus what many people would have said is the favorite to come out of that conference?
I am of the opinion there is no team in this league that is safe. I think that they have looked good. The Reapers and the xGODS have looked good all season. They've looked like the best team. The bots have looked amazing. But there is no team that is safe with the way that skill has been separated around the league, and Snappy dancing back and forth. Jed's choosing to duck back in the cover there. Might have been able to pick up another kill if he was willing. Never mind, he'll just do it on the other side. Ends up doing it one more time, and that's 4?
Yep.
He's handling this round himself, and he knows where this last player is. He's looking and looking to make a play, but instead just waiting. They are on defense. He doesn't have to push out. He doesn't have to do anything crazy.
And if he kills, if this teammate gets killed, he knows exactly usually where they are. That was not a ace, right?
No, that was a 4K. He managed to kill 4 of the 5 players. But what he did off of the first round of Valorant is unlock his ultimate. For this second round, he's in a position on defense to pop his ultimate and continue to do what he needs to do. He looks like a duelist on defense, and it sounds like the Wolves players are having a little bit of fun out there on the floor.
And to have the good economy that he has right now, because first round's pistol round, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that it's going to be interesting, to say the least, because certain people are awful on pistol round, right? Like, that's not their preferred weapon. So we'll see how.
Snappy here, super comfortable just peeking this corner, and I think he might have scared them off of coming. Hey, if I'm being honest, I'm not peeking that corner again after what happened last game.
No.
We all swinging and looking for a kill. Now let's see what they're able to do. He's still committing. This is the sign of a good Valorant player. He's not over-rotating. He's not overly running to any singular direction. He knows exactly where he needs to be. Yes. Every single intentional movement he's taking is because he understands and trusts his teammate to handle everything else on the map.
Oh my God!
The flick! Oh, the dismiss! Don't let it happen. And then his teammate Kenny picks up another kill. So not going to be an ace this round. Able to move back. He was unable to get the overheal and get extra health off of that kill, but he did manage to keep himself alive. So if you can't get more health, you might as well keep what you have and be able to
it looks like one of his teammates was taken down.
But Electric on the other side on this Reyna looks to be doing the same. And now deciding to maybe move away from Snappy and instead. But Kenny with the 3K this time, showing exactly why.
He's like, hey, Snap, you got the first round. Let me get the second one. Second round's on me.
Is why this team is amazing. This is why I have, since their bots game, I really had to dial in on their shooters. Everyone said this team is 0-3, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, you realize that, hey, give them some time, give them a little bit of room. They took a month, they have come back, and they are competing with the best of the best.
And one thing that we have to talk about with how the tier system's changing people, right? Last year, Kenny, the X-Rays outside of the aspect, didn't take the league as seriously, right? They were like, okay, what happens, right?
And I want you to understand, this was not just a win.
It was a dominant win.
xGODS forfeited a shooter now to the Wolves. Okay. So it brought to my attention, for everybody out there that does not know, October 31st this year, we are doing a special stream and a special event. First and foremost, I'm going to put a challenge out to y'all. Get us to 375 viewers. If you do, us casters here on the desk will be drinking some melatonin sly and trying to cast and stay awake. I've already made the promise that I will do 2 if we hit 375. If we hit 450, I will do 3. But you also get to vote on exactly who is drinking those sly, be it me, TLG, Speedy, Rex, or some of the new casters that we have bringing in Lockdown as well. Yep. So please go ahead and jump in, drop your channel points on whoever you deem to. So you want to see, try to stay awake. I appreciate it. And again, I'm still calling you out. 450 viewers. Let me see it. Make me a believer. Make me down 3 back-to-back melatonin sly on that day. Whether or not I'm casting, I will do it. I'll promise y'all that right now. But you have to hit that 450 number. You have to hit that 450 number at the end of the day.
All right, so now we have Overwatch coming up, and we have X-Ray Gurns and X-Ray Kenny and Lamoney all available. So what's going to be really what we were talking about earlier with the tier
Snappy
system?
Doomsday.
How is I think that's that's the play.
At this point, the way they're playing in these shooters, Snappy Doomsday. But I think we might be in for another banger Overwatch match.
Forfeit xGODS. Oh, they're like, we don't even want that smoke. You don't understand how good you have to be to take a category for somebody who's confident in it. And what game is this? Rejected Rivals.
The xGODS have been dog walking people in shooters. I need people to understand. They have looked especially with a lineup of Sin, Electric. Yes, we're missing Hasaj today. He was unable to be here. But even still, their 3 of their lowest tier players have been absolutely destroying the league. And in the matter of an hour and 15 minutes, the Wolves made them say, we don't want to even touch the category anymore.
You got it. You got it. Like, that's all you. You got it, big bro.
They told me they were excited for it today. I was like, what in the world is going on?
Think for a second. This is all one mistake away from being a 7-3 game. Potentially.
This is one mistake from being a 7-4 game. What you talking? And
Well, you take one win away from the xGODS.
Oh, no, I'm saying right now.
Oh, yeah.
Check their rival. I can't now. I have to be on it. I'm hopping on the Wolves bandwagon. We riding into the forest. We're howling together.
This team coming a bit of a distance away from being just the lone wolf in TOG a few seasons ago to win it.
A lot of people had questions. I think a lot of people questioned what this lineup was going to do when it was first built. But yes, they've come a long way. And I think I had an opinion at the beginning of the season talking about the Northern Conference. I said it's going to be the Reapers at the top because it's the Reapers.
And a bloodbath.
And then we just have to see who can take those 2 and 3 spots. The season started and everybody was like, the Wolves aren't in the race. And I went, trust me when I tell you those last 2 spots are up for a contest. And I think we're going to see it in this Tier 1 matchup. Everybody's been questioning what Snappy was doing. In the finals, he had an 80% win rate. Today, he is sitting at a little
84,
over.
83.4.
84% win rate. He's back in form. And look, y'all wondering where AJ looking away from the shooters. He knows what happened.
Yeah, no, I don't want that smoke.
5-0. Let him play his category, and he will show you exactly
why I'm that guy.
Why he's the greatest. And I have to believe the Tier 2 looks the same because that guy, Doomsday, we saw him in Apex. We saw him playing today alongside his Tier 1. There we go, 4-0. He's only been available for 4 of the shooters.
And look at Doomsday. Doomsday's one of the most – look, he's been in for 4 shooters, and they won 4.
I need you to understand, like, the top 2 on this team, they have what they need. They are in a position now where everyone thought they were out of the season. No, everyone discounted them. They are now beating what was seen as the other undefeatable team in the league based on pure performance and showing.
So let me ask you this question. And this will relate to a little bit of people who watch football a little bit more, right? So during the season that the Patriots went undefeated during the regular season, right? Everybody talked about them. And we had a team, the New York Giants, that snuck into the playoffs and fought their way to Super Bowl and beat that team that nobody thought they had a chance against. Do you see any kind of storyline, any kind of way that these Wolves sneak into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth and end up taking it?
Yes. I think they have the talent, they have the skill, they have the players, they have the ability, and they're showing right now that they can contend with the top of the league. So we are playing one of the distance maps. So your goal here is to get as far as you can. It requires you to understand exactly where to bounce, how to bounce, what angles, what spots to take. We see
and unfortunately not able to.
Instead landing in the water. You have to land on land to get a score, by the way. That's what's one thing that is super important. Ending up popping a little bit late, choosing to reset and to go for another opportunity. It looks like Durance currently has the farthest distance, only at 200 meters. Now it's going to come down to who else is able to land. Maybe going for some of these riskier routes might not benefit them. I see players flying forward. I have to believe they have the route.
He's able to make that.
Nice job hitting it. He's going to hopefully get to another one. But I say they haven't scored yet, but that's because Sin is flying to the other end of the map. He is at 1,300 meters here, looking to do it, and he lands just shy 14.6.
And he takes the high spot. How close was Gurren to do that?
Gurren's was at 200. And this was
wow.
We don't have
15 is next is just take over that slot.
These maps are really interesting because you need to learn the routes. You need to understand exactly what path you need to take, where you need to bounce, where you need to lose your limited nudges to be able to get as far as possible. And this looks like the xGODS have cooked up something
for this map.
Devious, almost reaching that bar. If you're able to reach that, you're able to get another nudge and continue to go even further. This requires you to really understand where you need to move. So here we go. Looking back at Kevin again, trying his best, hits the nudge.
And hit the wall there.
and goes back in. Now, they still have 40 seconds. This game isn't over, but they're going to need to hit a good path here shortly. So now we're back on Sin. He's controlling his movement. You see how precise he is to hit each one of these bounce pads. Now going to nudge, lift himself up a little bit higher. Nudge, lift himself up. He touches the ground, unfortunately, which is going to force him to restart and go for another jump. Now back to Nexus. Let's see what he does. Boom. A nice clean escape. Doesn't hit the wall at all. And is aiming for the second pad. Boom. You see, anybody at home, you got to play the xGODS. I'd be taking notes, looking at where they possibly are going, just in case you two have to challenge them on.
And it looks like he's taking a path to the right. Everybody's going straight. Nexus is taking a path less traveled. And
Oh my god. Are we the best Jackson rivals?
And the xGODS win it to make it 6-5. But now we have Die by the Blade coming up. And we have 3 people on each side that have to go in Havoc, X-Ray, Aspect, and AJ Little Blue. And now we have X-Ray, Kenny, Lamani, and Exile. I feel like X-Ray, Kenny might be good at this. It just feels like an X-Ray game.
The person I want to see play this most is Doomsday. Doomsday was one of the top For Honor players in the league. And I feel like Die by the Blade and For Honor share so many similarities in the approach people take to the game that if you understand one, I have to believe it.
And Snappy was, I think, good at. I mean, they're college kids.
I'm saying to you, 5 of 7 shooters. So we're looking at we got Apex, Fortnite's left, and there's one more shooter left. Do you risk sending? Well, you have to send 5. You'll get a reset. Yeah, full send. We ain't thinking about it actually. Send them tier 1s and tier 2s. They've been cleaning house all day.
And the finals, Fortnite in the finals.
Yeah, no.
So as long as we don't get those back to back, which will be tragic.
Probably could be able to manage it.
Yeah.
If you're really careful on how your resets.
I don't see a bad shooter on, like, okay, when I say bad, I mean not up to the higher level shooters. I don't see one really on either side. All right.
Okay. Now, I have to say, Die by the Blade. So what's your preferred weapon and what you...
I've never played that game a day in my life.
You know why you haven't played one?
Why?
Because you don't earn a SurfThing PC, the official PC sponsor of the UEL. They are what power us here. They get us through these games, in and out of these games, all the genres. They're in-gamer approved, 33 games, 5 genres. They can do it all. It's unmatched equipment. I'm going to pick you one up after this game, and you should go ahead and
Hey, everybody, clip that. Send it to me.
No.
When Christmas time comes around, I can be like, hey, Strix, you remember on, what was it, October 13th when you said that you'll buy me
a SurfThing PC?
A SurfThing PC? Yeah. I'm going to need you to own up to that.
I got you.
You're a man of your word. You seem like you're a man of your word. So
I said, I'll get them when I got y'all. Chat, thank you. I appreciate you. But while you do all that, please make sure you're heading over to SurfThing.com to grab yourself one today. Go ahead and get into those games, play, and join us for Season 10. You can jump in, sign up, and compete here for well over $1 million.
Oh, yes. We've been, the prize pool has gone up a lot throughout the seasons. As low as 10, I want to say it was 10,000 the first season, which 10,000 is still a lot of money, mind you. We only had 18 people back then. 2 teams had 4, 2 teams had 5. To what we are now, where between these 2 teams, they have more than that.
Yeah, they've played a ton, and the league has grown into this really beautiful situation where, again, the idea of the UEL is that you have to master gaming. It's not just being good at a singular game. Even, there's a few players out there that can say they've mastered almost a singular genre. We're asking you to step into 5, into shooting, into sports, into fighters, into racers, into strategy games that change season to season and still maintain your skill. The best players here can take a game, break it apart, figure how it ticks, how it works, and come out with strategies that are able to win regardless of the rule set.
It's always interesting to see people's different approach to things based on what they came in playing, right? Like the fighting game players take a lot of these games and break them down in different ways than, say, a shooter would or a sports player. So it's always fun to see people take those skills that they already had and try to approach different games, right? Like right now, at least in my opinion, I think shooters have done it the best. I think we've had more shooters at this point dive and get good into other categories than we've seen fighters go. People who only play fighters, I must say. There's some people who play fighters and shooters coming in. All right. So
and it looks like the Wolves got hit with an incorrect setup. So maybe that time off, they didn't necessarily update their rule book, and this game is supposed to be 2 lives. We'll go ahead and be popping back over as discasters. We'll spot back into this game in a moment. Don't worry, those SurfThing PCs will get us up and running in no time.
And now we
Luckily,
have Street Fighter.
we're half an hour coming up a half an hour and a half. So I'm not too worried about this. Still clean it up for next time. You get one. Logan will let you know you get one mistake. It happens occasionally. You are professionals. Go ahead and do. And you mentioned it, Street Fighter 6 next. We got to see if maybe that same magic. We know the 5 that have to go in here, so maybe the magic still exists for a possible win. But JP is looming. So here we go. On your player 2 side, that's the right side of your screen, are the xGODS. On the left side of your screen is going to be the Wolves. And he almost manages the side step. And you see him look over, and Doomsday's like, wait, it tracked? Why did it track that hard? And it
looks
ends
like
up going down to 2 hits.
And we hear somebody chanting out there. Someone hasn't been streaming because this is one of the games that is one of our, I want to say sponsor games, one of our featured games in the UEL, Die by the Blade. Very kind of one-touch game, right? Like you get hit once and you're dead.
Yeah, it really requires you to play the fundamentals of a fighting game compared to some of the other games. Fundamentally, you have to be able to like play a spacing game. You have to be just out of your opponent's
Almost
range,
footsies.
make them whiff their hit footsies. That is the exact term. If you want to learn how to get good at it, you can look it up yourselves at home. But Doomsday being out, that player that I expected a lot from, now we have Kenny stepping in looking for a swing himself. And it looks like Sin picking up where he wanted to start in Tekken and starting to pick up some of these kills. Now with 1 life left, he has to find an opportunity. And
wow,
catches him with the stab. I like the confidence there of Kenny to step forward, looking to punish if he went to the red attack. Unfortunately, getting just a step too close and going down. Now we get to see in his first game of Season 9, Exile stepping in here once again. I'm talking about playing footsies, but more than anything, it looks like the Wolves, the Exile seem pretty confident. Funnily enough, I hear Sid out on the floor talking about, hey, y'all aren't streaming Die by the Blade enough. Go ahead and play a little bit more of this game. Talking a little spicy. I appreciate it. And we have to see. I want to see them slow the game down, though, if I'm talking to the Wolves. This game specifically. Ooh, and a nice parry. Doesn't end up looking for a punish.
Right?
Yes. If you immediately dash up into attack and have the stamina for it, you should be able to get a hit on somebody standing.
But Sin is able to take him out.
He just recognizes and I think knows the hitbox on this katana exceptionally well. Managing to catch these players as they step forward, finding another hit, and that's Exile down. Are we going to see the first sweep of the day coming out from the rookie on the xGODS side of things? And now the Tier 1 steps in and says, hey, you're new to the league. Let me show you how things work here. I'm going to handle this myself.
This will be the first Die by the Blade sweep to happen.
The entire season is crazy. Sin trying to put his name up in lights. I guess the name Sin City Triad might mean a little bit of something. Sin City. He's out here to let you know that his name is the one on the billboard. This entire squad is looking to play for a championship, so they need to find a win. So don't worry here. Don't worry. We are doing a button check. You just can't see it because we are looking at Sin's beautiful screen. Along with his beautiful face there, you see lit up there, crystal clear in the bottom right-hand corner, right above our PC sponsor, sir.
All right, and so we are now live. They're going back and forth. This is the most we've seen, at least from the Wolves side, of somebody taking their time. But unfortunately, that didn't matter in this case.
I like the decision there. Tried to backdash it, tried to get out of range of the swing. Unfortunately, some of these attacks, if you don't know their exact range, you might have already walked too close. And he tries to catch him swinging. Unfortunately, isn't able to time it. And now the next player left is Snappy.
It's Snappy.
Lemani. Good, nice try. Again, the rookie tried, clearly had an idea of how he wanted to play, but now Snappy's going to have to handle it.
It's on Snappy to stop the sweep. You don't want to put, as much as for every team, right? When you put a record in the book, that record is coming against somebody else, and you don't want to be that somebody else. that
Yes.
the record gets set on.
It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting if the xGODS today they're going to have to prove to me that they are a diverse team. They're able to win more than just shooters. They've been able to this season. But when you are in a position now where it feels like the category is almost out of reach to you, what are you going to do? Are you able to step onto these fighters and take a little more? So we're getting another button check here.
It looks like Snappy's opting to go for a little bit more range than his previous counterparts have.
Yes, so this polearm, we've seen a lot of players use it. Looks like he went ahead and just created some space. He's not interested in playing this super close game. Force him to step in, but now slowly closing the distance and ends up getting caught. He tried to parry there. It was a nice opportunity. He was just a slight second too early. He has the idea. He just needs to make sure everything goes cleanly. Nice deflected, steps up.
And you take him out.
What I mean, he immediately deflects. You immediately step forward. You do a quick attack to catch them as they're standing up and unable.
Snappy, one more round, and you can prevent the sweep from happening.
Prevent history, Snappy. This is your moment. This is your chance.
And Snappy
does that exact thing. It felt like he was playing at this range, and Sin wasn't as confident as he had been to just go ahead and throw out his combos, maybe being a little bit worried.
So, are we going to get the reverse sweep here?
Possibly. I do want to highlight the mechanics that we did start to see there, the dodges. One thing that I've realized a lot of players in the league don't hone in on is this game, they call it light and heavy attack. It's horizontal and vertical attack. And that matters because you can roll to the side or back or forward step, which means that if someone throws out something horizontal, your goal to dodge it is to go backward.
It's like you have to block directionally. You have to
And if somebody throws out something vertically, just straight up swinging, we've seen Electric do this time and time again, be willing just to straight run you down if you give them an opportunity.
And we have Street Fight. This is where we're going to miss Pip-Boy the most.
Pip-Boy has consistently shown that he's actually had a rough showing this season. I want to be fair. He has had a rough showing, but he's still, I feel like, one of the most knowledgeable and best fighting game players. Pip-Boy's not here today. I believe he traveled to a legitimate tournament.
In Connecticut.
Yeah, and plays pretty well up there at ECT. So congratulations to you. Hopefully you got your team prepared for today, though, just in case they got to handle.
What's going to be the issue I see having is going to be the X-ray aspect JP. So JP is a zoner character, but it's going to be one of the most annoying characters to deal with if you don't know how to do it. He's going to get you full screen, and he's not going to rush in. He's going to, optimally, he's just going to sit there and force you to block, and you have to figure. And if you don't know when to move forward, it's going to be a long day.
We saw it in the Wolves versus the Bots. The Wolves elected to play a lot more of that zoning game, but against a character like JP, he can just kind of run you over and deal so much damage from afar that you feel pressured constantly the whole game to step forward. You don't get to set out and kind of play your own range. You kind of have to take risks. And with a player like X-Ray Aspect, who has honed this skill of being just, I don't want to, just killing you if you can't prove that you can clear the hurdle. I think it's JP's the perfect character.
There's a lot of things you have to deal with, right? Like, so there's one thing to learn to when to run in. But if you're sitting there's a stream where JP can block and then he throws out his command grab. If you don't know to jump or jump back or whatnot, you're going to get caught by that. There's a lot of...
I have to look at which string that is because there's also a couple of those that are not real.
Well, they're not real. You can jump out of it.
Not just that. So, used to be a JP player.
Yeah.
Some of us are very dishonest. You can like jab out of some of them because it's not fast enough unless you do very specific sequences. I trust X-Ray will do safe options, but he will also cast you on just something like, well, if you match jab here, you'll go ahead and beat me. But we have to see. I might expect them to send maybe somebody in first just to see if they're able to get a few people down. And if things go bad, send the X-Ray aspect in and let
Nexus is also Plat 2 or 3, I want to say.
Nice. What does he play?
I want to say he plays a Shoto. It's either Ryu or Ken. I believe so.
All of these Ken players, someone help me, please. Save me. Where are the Ryus? No, I don't want Kuma. I don't want a Kuma either. If Kuma touches you and you die. Street Fighter 6 is like the default traditional fighting game that will just test your all-around skills in the genre.
How well you do a pressure. recognizing
footsies
strings.
that we saw like in Die by the Blade. All of them come together. Combo damage isn't ridiculous and as complex as some of the other games, but it will require you to be prepared to jump in. So let's see what we have.
And we get Zangief.
Player 1, the modern Zangief on the side of the xGODS. On player 2 side, Exile on the Luke. Running of the
And we
Luke
get
here.
Skullgirl.
The fighters are starting to roll. It all depends on lineup here. I think that normally you're gonna want to have
Aspect in probably.
So Rex, I want to ask you a serious question. Do you think players should lose characters for movement during button check? Because
I get what you're saying, because
a Zangief dashing up or someone dashing away from Zangief is changing the game state.
Because so there's this thing which every fighting game player is gonna know. It's called neutral. Okay.
I'm looking over at Exile, and it looks like this is going to be an impact off. Drive impact coming out from both sides, but get scooped by the Tier 1 AJ.
You have to be careful because
the whiff!
Zangief is a very grab-heavy character. But I get what you're saying, because at the beginning of the match, at the beginning where the round starts, right, you're in a neutral position, depending on if you dash forward or back, right? Like, let's use Zangief. If you dash forward at Zangief, you're putting yourself in a more favorable position. You're not hitting them, but you're putting yourself in a more favorable position because different characters have different range at which they want to play at. If you're dashing back against Zangief, you're putting yourself in a favorable position, especially if you're like a JP or anything of that nature.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that, like, I know it's really funny, and everybody at home might be like, why are you suggesting that movement should be able to, because it's a subtle thing that fighting game players know, and we would be using movement.
Like in this matchup, right?
Yeah,
moving
backing
back
immediately ends up benefiting you. Now, if you end up moving forward here, and Gurns, we got to see some of that magic coming from the Tekken sets that you were able to play.
And missing the DP.
Misses, gets grabbed. This is going to be a ton of damage. And he only has a few more guesses. Ends up landing into another grab. There's one more guess if this gab comes through. He ends up taking the boot, but this time the DP connects. Now
that's what JP really, not Jake, sorry. Oh, he misses it. And that's where Zangief really shines at, right? Getting you on the ground and making you guess those heavy damaging 50-50s, right? You can't just simply jump because he can catch you out of that jump. And you can't just simply block all the time because he can.
So now Kenny's sitting down as well. I agree with you. I think that you covered it. Geef is such a weird option. Like, in the fighting games, it feels like grapplers are automatically strong.
So, speaking of, I brought this up with Tekken, where Eddie is that default character where if you don't know how to play the game, you usually put your people on it. That's, in my opinion, what
Nice
Zangief
block.
is.
Who got the second button? And it was AJ. AJ's going to be able to get some good damage here.
And has him up against the wall. Now, very impressive character here in Bison. And who is on the Bison? It is Kenny.
And he's able to go in here and he's able to try to get some damage. Now, he does play like his teammate Pip-Boy, play this Bison. So I'm hoping he's learned something even on the modern. Continuing to put out this pressure. You love to see it, but you got to be careful running in on a Zangief.
And that's the thing, pressing those negative buttons against Zangief, that Zangief grab you, and that's a chunk of damage you're taking. And the Bison is burnt out, so anything he does is going to be doing more damage. What is he going to do? Is he going to get... I feel like somebody's about to pop a critical art here. All right.
Well, no, it looks like AJ was looking for those grabs and ends up getting taken down, luckily taking out a ton of the health off of his teammate. This is where we have to see here. Good job. Now, Electric doesn't have a huge health bar to have to work through here on the JP himself. So we'll see if the players have kind of been prepared for this matchup and know how exactly they want to handle.
And would you say this matchup, per se, is favored towards Bison, or would you say this is... I feel like this is a Bison favorite matchup, but I'm not.
It wouldn't surprise me. Bison has the drive rush to be able to get through.
Has the fastest drive rush in the game.
Standing through the command grab. Nice job using the Psycho Crusher to just run in and just a few quick buttons to take him down. A good job there by... And you see X-Ray Aspect kind of giving him some ideas and some information to play. Now, who... Ryu keeping it simple, keeping it straight to
old
the point.
school, right? Especially if you've played Street Fighter years ago. Ryu has the same game plan for a lot.
Yes. He is on the modern, so I don't know how acquainted he is with the game. Gonna go ahead and hit this back to default. Gonna make any changes to any of the buttons? I don't think so. Let's see if he's able to play. Not realizing it's command grab. This is now multiple times that he was able to do so. Nice jump in into DP just to keep that
And
advanced
if
option.
he's going to hit that, yes, and he's able to get that.
Nice job
Tatsu.
using Tatsu to get over to the other side. And now continuing up this pressure, both players, you can still now see that some of this pressure is getting, it looks like, to the side of Electric. And Lamini just constantly putting out this pressure time and time again, button after button, slowly backing him down, closing in this space.
And that's all he needed right there. He was able to take him out. The rookie showing out today.
I would love to see a replay of that because I want to see how many buttons were pressed there. That was some StarCraft level APM right there for everybody, bro. I appreciate them.
And here comes the first test of how well you know the game. Because X-Ray's about to start pressing buttons off. Did he jump into him? And what you're talking about how is it fair? Because you're jumping into him and he wants to keep you away.
And you see X-Ray.
But even then, he's putting himself into a corner.
Nah. All right. So, you know what? That's cheeky. He managed to get his space.
Yep, and you have to block that ground spike and either jump or run after that.
Yeah, but even there, it was really funny because initially he said he was going to walk back. He was able to walk back, but literally the funniest thing to me is that X-Ray was like, yeah, I'm going to walk back and take full screen.
Oh, God. Oh, okay.
All right, so this is two very strong characters in this game. So we have to see if Kevin's able to bring it back for his team.
Oh, what?
He's
No,
the
looking
last
at
man
command.
standing.
No, looking at command list trying to.
Oh, I don't think he's. I
know, yeah.
You never know. All right, let's see here. Jumping in. A nice block. Ends up getting hit again. Block. Doing a good job and stepping forward. They jump in. And this is something the Fireball is able to contest and help him get in a little bit more. But we're still seeing X-Ray Aspect being confident here to try to deal with all this pressure coming out of Kevin. A nice knockdown. And he's immediately back in again. Back to this full screen.
And the difference is you see Kevin going for some of the mix-ups on him. And I think X-Ray just going to try to do as much. I figured he was going to try to do as much damage as possible right there. Just because of how. And that's, yep.
That command grab. And you see there, funnily enough, a lot of, like, better fighting game players, I don't want to take it away from Kevin. He's doing an amazing job here, continuing the pressure. He's not giving us up. Wouldn't have pressed a button there. But if you don't know and to be scared, confirms into the level 3. So this is going to be a ton of damage.
That was a critical art, if I'm not mistaken.
This game is not over. Now, is he able to deal with the level 2? Does he know what happens? He ends up blocking. That ends up being the wrong option. So there, because he was burned out, he had to go forward and keep fighting. There wasn't an opportunity for him to waste any more time. But what I was getting at was X-Ray's pressure and what you talked about with the Ghost. You have to condition your opponent to be scared of you. And when you don't have an opponent that, I think, I'm just going to phrase this, has self-preservation on their mind, they're willing to press a button. And so that command grab, until you just hit them with a ton of Ghost, will never just sit there and block it out.
So I think we get here. I feel like this is an X-Ray Gurns game. If they feel like they're going to win, it's going to be one of the X-Rays on the.
I think this is going to be a forfeit. To be honest.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody on that team of all games, Skoros being one of them.
But who to say the same thing on the xGODS side?
Because X-Ray Aspect, I know, probably has a character. Havoc probably has a character.
But X-Ray Aspect it's not one of his better fighting games. And being X-Ray Gurns and Kenny and Kevin, they probably know that's not one of his better fighting games.
But I think that if you're a good fighting game player, your best thing is not being your best fighting game and still being able to win it. But I think we have some replays to check out from somewhere earlier in our game. So I think we're going to go ahead and pull them up and take a look here from this Street Fighter. And this was the pressure coming out. All of these buttons, I need you to understand, everybody was just looking for this hit. If any of them could find the confirm here, a nice Tatsu there to get a little bit more damage, and everybody just looking, jumping in, willing to press more and more and more and more and more. And we see him stand up. That controller probably's got to be replaced after all them buttons being hit. We do have a button check going on right now, so, you know. And on the other side, this is where we saw, I want to say Kevin there on the Bison putting out a ton of pressure, but AJ just saying, hey, bro, look, I'm just feeling down. Can I get a hug or two? And these hugs do a lot of damage. You just got to be a little bit careful every time you move in for it. Ends up getting a little more damage. Boom, hit the throw. The pressure was beautiful. That's the funny thing that I tell most players. If you don't know how to deal with your opponent, Don't play your opponent's game ever. It is
So it
a
looks like we got-
peacock on player 1 side going against the player 2 xGODS checkmate showdown. And checkmate showdown is the next game on.
And with the so player 1 being the Wolves, player 2 being the xGODS. So that is Exile
All right, let's see.
versus and Exile just chucking things at him.
This
chucking
is
things.
hilarious. This feels far more. I'm being very real with you. This feels so much less. This feels more like an X-ray aspect game plan, but it is the funniest thing to me.
Is that Exile cooking like that?
No, it's not that I don't believe in Exile. I think Exile is a great player.
But the level, how
This is the type of game plan that I have legitimately seen 100 times over come out of a player like X-ray aspect. Aspect just, he's going to bully you. You have to prove that you are beyond bullying. And if you aren't, you're going to have this happen to you. And he's showing that he has some understanding of the Peacock. This should be the kill, but a nice jab interrupts it, and we'll see here.
yeah, so that was, I was like, that feels like X-ray, but at the same time,
Peacock is one of these characters that has so many different items, so many different pressure sequences. You just have to know how to navigate the scene.
Doomsday's in, they're putting in their tier 2.
Now, you sometimes see players play one character. Who do you play, Doomsday? Tell me, who do you play? I want to see, who's he going for. Is he going for double? Big man's always fun. Ends up going for the double. We'll see. He's been able to produce magic in these shooters. Let's see him do it here instead. Double's actually, I think, a pretty good fight here. God, thank you for pausing. I don't like looking at double. I'm going to be honest with you. I just... That game is, it looked a little... Doomsday, for those that don't know, Big Doomsday likes to use his attack button, his square button especially. To get in there, you see these jabs coming out. You're going to see a lot of them jabs. Look, he's looking for the confirm, bro. He's crossing the screen. He's doing a great job of crossing the screen, actually, and just navigating his way through this pressure. But it looks like he doesn't necessarily have combos, so he's going to have to find a lot of these touches and continue to hit him with the jabs. The stagger pressure is staggering.
And looks... All right, unable to get back. And now it's full screen again. All right.
Here we go, the pressure coming out.
And
nice job getting
able
through.
To get a ton of damage. Super here gets them that chip damage and
back to full screen, and you're going to get caught by George in a plane. Here we go. He's doing his best.
I think it was a forfeit.
Oh, he thought he was dead. He thought the game was over. Ends up having to sit back down. It's not done just yet. You see X-ray aspect laughing a little bit. And as the onslaught of these buttons continue and continue and continue, Doom said, first the one. First the one. The game is over. Trying his best here. And it looks like X-ray is kind of stopping it now. Just looking to maybe, you know, get a little pie on the face. What's he doing? Just walking back and ends up dropping the elephant on. God, yo, Dumbo's mom, that's where she went after the movie.
Hey, Dumbo's mom's a nice lady, okay?
Yeah, she is. I didn't say anything wrong with Dumbo's mom. I didn't say anything at all.
So, Checkmate Showdown. So, it is a 7v7 chess game. If you think about like Wizard's Chess from Harry Potter, if you've ever watched that. An interesting thing to point out that I guess the team didn't know the other day. So, normally, in the 7v7, one person controls 2 pieces. But if you only have 6 players, you don't get that second piece that's able to be controlled. So they're gonna be essentially, second piece. So they're gonna be down multiple pieces where the piece is just dead. They can't use it. They have to decide, okay, in this game of chess, what piece do we feel like is the least valuable?
It's not just a piece. I want to be clear because this is something that was clarified recently this week. Every player must play one piece. You're losing 2 pieces overall in the grand scheme of things. So you have to really pick and choose what you want to use. But I think we have some word from the floor. AV, what's going on out there?
xGODS are having fun with these fighters, man. I tell you what, they are more than happy to take down any and everything the Wolves can do. Mid-combo, Doomsday put down his controller.
He's like, you know what? How about no?
Like, why? Why should I even try? But
Doomsday,
you know,
please.
The Wolves being exactly. The Wolves are, you know, obviously they are afraid of Snappy and these shooters, and which is why they
The xGODS.
forfeit. No,
They're afraid.
the xGODS are afraid of
Oh,
Snappy. Yeah, as
Oh,
far as
we're his
shooters go.
teammate.
That's
Bro.
exactly why they forfeited all of the shooters. Now it's the xGODS game.
Nah. I can't have that because I'm letting you know right now. Don't be forfeiting against Cutters and Ricky Rockham, xGODS. Y'all trying to win a championship.
Y'all play them next Saturday.
Yeah, but they don't got the room to get scared of nobody in this league if they want to win a championship. And maybe it's some respect. I'm gonna use the term respect as opposed to say afraid.
I'm gonna say
because
scared.
afraid is crazy.
I'm gonna say afraid. They're shivering in their boots.
They're quaking.
Shivering.
They're
Getting cold outside.
Oh my goodness, bro. No, that's just a wild statement to me. Like I would say like he's shown that he can keep up, but the fact is y'all had one of the most dominant shooter teams in the league. I'm gonna be the first person. This has already knocked the xGODS down a tier for me. I think the undisputed best team in the league is the Reapers, bar none.
Because you don't generally go in and dominate the Reapers in any one category. Usually, right? For the xGODS to come in and get dominated this way in shooters speaks a lot. Do you think that speaks more for the Wolves or the xGODS?
I mean, I think it speaks to the Wolves. The Wolves, because the xGODS up to this point, the Wolves up to this point haven't been the same, showing the same. They've recently gotten a surge. They've recently started to get better.
Yeah.
They're improving game over game. But the xGODS have literally beaten every other team they've played in shooters almost across the board. Yeah, people can make them competitive, but it's almost never where they're getting shut out of every shooter.
Nah, you got it.
Period. A singular player is shutting out a team of 6. Now, the xGODS are smart. They know where they should and shouldn't play, and they're a smart team, a more strategic team. But even still, if you're a championship team, the Reapers, quote-unquote, don't have fighters. The Reapers yet are able to contend with almost any team in the league and have now proven time and time again that they are the best players. So on the orange side, you're going to see the xGODS. On the purple side, you'll see the Wolves. And let's see what pieces are missing. So they're not going to have one of their knights, and it looks like they're not going to have one of their bishops, more than likely. And on the other side, it looks like they're going to lose a bishop and probably lose a rook, is going to be my guess.
I look like they're just squaring up now.
All right, button check, Snappy sitting down. So, like I said, it's going to be the side of purple is going to be the bishop for the Wolves, and then Nexus on the other side.
So this is interesting thing to think about. Button check matters a lot in every game, but it matters a lot in Checkmate Showdown. And as you can attest, if you don't call that button check, your player, if they're not ready to play instantly, is going to get ran through.
So Snappy tried there, but Nexus very clearly has learned how to pilot this bishop to such a degree that it did not matter. And now he has managed to jump all the way into enemy lines and is ready to start taking a fight. Do they start moving their queen out to maybe take a fight to look for an opportunity? Or where are they looking to play? Now, I have my opinions. I like this move. You don't want to give your opponent the opportunity to initiate a fight unless you
Want to, and putting the queen in front of the bishop.
Yeah. So now this knight player is going to have to play. This knight is going to be Kenny sitting down for the side of the Wolves.
All right, so now we have. Let's see. You said we have Kenny versus.
This should be Nexus again. It should be Nexus again. Nexus should be out here focused up, looking to make a play. Nice throw there, doing a good job avoiding the pressure. And instead, Nexus is going to go ahead and get started. Does anybody know about the burst is going to be my first question. Does not look like he's going to end up eating half of his health, more than likely. A little bit more than that, almost down to 60%, 40%. Now below that mark, only has a couple of more hits that he can take. Is now trying their best. Nice throw. He's still keeping it competitive and doing some damage, which is important. You don't want to die too much, but the throw will close it out. And Nexus with the second kill of finally losing his first bar of health.
And here comes Big Doom. Big Doom seems to be the one piloting the chess game.
I still think that people are playing chess too much. Not that, like, I think that, like, if you are going to play chess, then your fighters just have to be in a position to what's the word I want to use here? They need to know matchups well enough, because at the end of the day, like double attacking anything that's not the king doesn't do much more than set you up for a position. Now trying to move and again continue to attack these opponent's
Put
pieces,
pressure on them.
and he's moving out his knight now to avoid another fight, but that's going to open up your king for an opportunity. And there's almost a guaranteed fight unless Doomsday chooses to. He elects
like,
to
nah.
move out of the way. That king is now safe for the time being, but is kind of trapped in this individual spot. It looks like they're relying heavily on Nexus for the entirety of their game plan, maybe not feeling like they need to bring out anybody else, or just in general hoping to be able to put a little bit more damage out there on the board.
Yeah, do a little something before he and then with them moving the king in that way, they're forced to bring out some of these other pieces, so you can't, and there's a pawn protecting the pawn, so you can't just
Take that pawn, as
Yeah.
you were saying. Yeah. They want to give space for their king, because one of the worst things that we see happen all the time is a lot of teams leaving their king with no room to move, no room of safety. And so if you have to open up these extra squares just to let him have an opportunity to move in case somebody tries to chase him down, tries to trap him, he has that little bit of freedom that he can play towards. Now it looks like they're setting up something, moving this bishop up, just trying to keep up this wall just in case the opponent does try to make a move. Now,
they're
again,
moving one of the pawns up, I can imagine. Yeah.
that feels like a pretty safe move. But if he does this, this is where it gets really hard, because I think they have to play defensive. So if all that's happening right here is they're trying to find a fight. This will be Sin going up against Doomsday. Doomsday
Queen
set
with the
down, was
assist.
ready to play, yes. And so the big difference is that Doomsday is going to have an assist that he's going to need to be able to play. And both sides looking like they're trying to find their combos and be certain if they can play and where they can move to and from. Doing a good job of avoiding the super. It's wasted now. It is going to have some time before it recharges. And if he's able to continue to find these hits, he could turn this game and knock out this initial pressure coming out of the xGODS. The first burst we've seen of the set, and now offense is back in the favor of Sin. Both sides just looking for a hit. He gets counter hit here. One more touch will do it and will take Sin out of the game. They will only be down to AJ on their king. Jumping back, just moving out of the way of the ultimate, but ends up getting tagged on the other side, pressing a button. He's trying his best to survive this pressure. Gets punished, doesn't get a hit. He has no more room to play. Looks for the jump. The rook doesn't connect. And now jumping,
Oh,
and
they both went for the grab.
so close with the whiff. The super is still available. So one hit, he jumps over it again. Luckily, doesn't end up touching it. Neither player has found that opportunity, but that touch, if he's able to convert this combo, it would have been a nice block. Just committing to blocking out this
And he
pressure,
should be dead
and he should
here.
be able to win there and keep his queen alive. It was super close. It was scary. Doomsday dealing a ton of damage, doing his job, and now that king is in a susceptible spot. And they said, I'm not going to even play around. We're going to go ahead and give the controller to Gurrens and let him go ahead and scoop in this game, finish it up.
And I would say, me personally, the rook is the most terrifying looking piece.
Terrifying?
Like, the most intimidating looking piece.
I
Like,
mean,
look at that big
kinda
old
big.
grappler.
Yeah, he kind of big. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a room with the rook.
Nah.
Like, he's going to take my lunch money and my cookies, bro. I got to be safe. And that's what he wants to do, much like we've seen a little bit earlier in the game. Gurrens plays these grapplers. He likes to just give you a hug. It's nice, warm, and fuzzy, but we see that on the other side, Sin is saying, I don't want no hugs, or just stay away from me, give me a little bit of space, and just constantly moving away. And Gurrens is trying to find his opportunity in, and ends
Get
up
the
just
grab.
popping the super raw and getting the kill. He said, I'm tired of your shenanigans, your movement, your jumping.
Let me just hug you real quick.
Yes. Now, importantly, that is the one rook that they will have. No, they have all their pieces. I forgot they have everybody in there.
Oh, so
It did take me a second. I forgot they're running
who
7
the
today.
xGODS don't have? The xGODS don't have a rook and a.
Bishop. They're missing a rook and a bishop. No, a bishop and a knight. A bishop and a knight are what the xGODS are currently missing here in the game. Yeah, they ended up electing to keep these rooks around. A lot of players like these rooks being exceptionally strong. They like being super prepared, super aware of just grappling is scary. You mentioned it with Zangief. Looking to possibly open up the board. I like this idea. They ended up protecting it, and now the board isn't completely open anymore. They still have a lot of control and a lot of space on their side. I'm starting to like the Wolves' position overall.
All right, and try to take the fight.
Are we going to take another fight here?
But wouldn't the pawn be able to take it, or does that not work like that?
If it was on the diagonal, yes, it'd be able to take it. It doesn't matter. As long as you are diagonal away from a pawn, you'll end up dying. So we might just have seen, regardless of how this fight goes, something going in the advantage of the xGODS. And now we see Exile here piloting this bishop, doing his best to get a ton of damage out, ends up blocking it, getting bursted out, excuse me. And now Havoc on the side of this knight, doing a great job to just start putting pressure on, and just gonna keep checking with these different plays, and he catches him teleporting around with the super. That's a ton of damage. So this fight ends up being worth it one way or the other, and Havoc now living in the sky. Exile looks like he has the combo, was able to get the buff, ends up backing up, not taking too much damage. Both these players on even life bars, but these projectiles, these ghosts, are doing a ton of damage, finding a tile of minus. He jumped in, but wasn't unable to find a hit. He gets his touch. He should be able to finish the game here. The burst comes out as the combo is ending.
So one more conversion.
Either player, I think, with one hit should be able to finish this game up. And nice job getting a hit there, taking out the knights. There are no more active knights on the board for the side of the xGODS. And now this game is starting to move into the favor. You asked me, and the answer is yes. You lose that to the side of...
You traded piece for piece.
Yeah, but every one of your pawns that are on the board, we hear Doomsday agonizing over the loss of his teammate there, and maybe now looking to get Gurns into the game.
And maybe the Wolves are thinking, hey, if we trade piece for piece, we win because we have more to start with.
Yeah, I think that's a smart strategy overall. But they have to remember that they are down just 2 straight-up pieces in this game, which means that they're not in the same position just to begin with. I don't know how much the Wolves have looked at the state of the game, but to realize, like, hey, this knight isn't scary. Hey, the bishop, one of the bishops isn't scary, and to just be able to play off of them matters a ton. Gonna castle either way. Which side are we going towards? Looks like he's trying to keep his knight safe, now tucking him away in that left hand corner. Is gonna go ahead and get a little bit more damage, maybe jump in here with the knight. The knights on their team are Lamani.
And they have to be careful because if they end up doing what they did before and end up losing the piece to a pawn.
Yeah, I think as long as he's a little bit careful with his placement, I think Doomsday's not gonna make the same mistake twice. He's going to have to play out here, but maybe looking for another opportunity to attack and to jump in. And there's something that's really interesting, right? Because we know which bishop is Nexus. And so being willing and knowing when to play, and now they're kind of using this piece almost as just something that, go ahead, take a pawn, move back. As long as I'm not fighting, I'm okay. I can still threaten to take a few different pieces, and maybe looking to put Lamani in. No, Lamani in one of these fights. Setting up here, trying to get both rooks on the same file would be good. The same column here, because you're just able to force 2 fights, and you're going to force a move out of the king.
And they also pressuring the rook on the other side. So, I mean, just at first we're thinking, right, that the xGODS have the advantage here with how this game started off. But now with the Wolves, it looked like the Wolves, maybe they were a little nervous at the game. Maybe they made a little mistake here or there. But they look like they're handling the mid-game very well.
They ended up in a pretty rocky position, but they've recovered pretty well. I agree with you. I think here, now you're going to force the king to move either left or right, but you're going to have to take a fight. It looks like, or maybe they wanted to elect for this to force a tag team fight to hopefully remove Gurns. This was the weakened rook.
Oh my god.
This will be Nexus sitting down on the bishop. And I don't like this matchup. I think the bishop jumping in. The bishop jumping in here to me is incredibly scary, because Gurns just needs to make a hard read and get a good throw, and this starts to happen. You start to see your health bar disappear. You got to be willing just to get away from this. You can't just let him go in. And he ends up supering, and Gurns stops his momentum and looks to stay in his face, realizing that as long as I'm up close, oh, a rook into rook, that's no.
Yeah,
don't like to even look of that. But
it's like,
Nexus,
are you going to jump or are you going to jump?
Nexus started out and a nice read on his own rook assist to get some damage out. Now that super is still there, and if Nexus gets the read, this round could end. Ends up getting grabbed out of the sky, but the super armor is going to end up winning the game for him. That's one of Gurns' rooks out of the game. But I can promise you that there's another one waiting in the wings. And now, doing a good job. I don't think they're going to stop. I think they said, we're going to go again. Sit back down, buddy. This game isn't over just yet. The game is live. A nice block here. Now, Gurns doesn't have as much health on this one rook. And I like the read in case he jumped there to throw out the air grab, but I don't think he's going to even give him an opportunity to play the game. He jumps the grab, he jumps away,
and he's able to knock out the. That's a lot of vertical pressure. That's a lot of horizontal vertical pressure going now.
It's very difficult to deal with. I think good job trying to keep the pressure up, but now we're in a situation where all that's left standing is Lemani as well as Kevin. And it looks like Lemani is now going to take his shot at
good
the
job with positioning. Now he still has an assist. They've done a good job, the xGODS, of having assist available for these last couple of fights.
It's just about keeping your pieces well coordinated together. Nice job using the burst early. I love seeing that. It bodes really well for the game, and he's just constantly stepping up here, looking for more pressure. These are pressure sequences. They're not just individual attacks. It looks like he knows what he wants to do with the knight, but it looks even more that Aspect knows what he wants to do with this rook, placing hands on the knight over and over again, this time into the super. That was a punish into a kill. And all that's left standing
is the king.
It's Kevin. Before we hit halftime, will he find his opportunity to take a win? Hey, yo, challenge them to a 1v1. Tell them they won't. Pull up right now. Yo, pull up with your king. 1v1 for all the marble.
Neither king has been in a fight yet.
Let's see. Who's going to be able to do it? All right, let's see. We're going to move. He's not moving towards the board. I think he's looking to make his way across the board here and take a fight. Yep. Doing a good job not giving up any of these open files. That's fine. He loses a piece, or he has to start taking some risks. So how are you going to navigate this board? So he's going to step forward, stepping into the middle of his pieces, and start to move down. So he has to keep track of where all of his opponent's pieces are. He thinks he has a line on where he might want to go. And it's actually pretty smart because you have almost locked him out. Doomsday's going to have to navigate exactly where he wants to go. I actually don't want him to do this. I want him to jump in between his pawns and then continue to walk forward from there. You're going to have to fight at some point. It looks like Sin's done a great job of kind of putting him in a catch-22 where he's just going to need to die. But they're just trying to stop the forward progress of this king.
And so her burn check, so we're about to get an engagement here. But he has that assist, too.
Yeah, but you have ultimate. Ultimate means a ton. And so this is something that's really small that a lot of people didn't notice. Mentioned it before. They gave up one of their knights. This isn't a real character.
Ooh.
And so it ends up being that if they're smart, and again, watching some of these characters, you have to pay attention and know
I don't think they know that they're... So, yeah, they realize now that this is just a dead character.
And so, yeah.
So you can say that we're beating a dead horse here.
Yes. Yes, Rex. You can. Oh, my God. All of this damage.
Stop. He's already dead.
The amazing damage is insane. The shenanigans is so different. All right.
There's no way. There's no way. I don't. You lost your king to a dead piece.
I need us to understand in the nicest way possibly. We're going to the half, but we got to see the first time a pawn ever complete checkmate and checkmate.
That's your chump of the week, Logan. That's your chump of the week. But
I think they wanted that game to be over to go in the half, to be honest. But we'll find out. Thank you, Rex, for being on the cast with me. It's been incredible. We're going to head in half, and we have to see if the Wolves have the same gumption as they do in these shooters to take it back in the second half.
All right, so we'll see y'all in 15 minutes. All right.
With the game that they're playing, what exactly is happening, but there's a complaint that players from the other team are pausing and they assume that somehow messing up their flow of the game. So we're gonna investigate after this match. If there's gonna be an issue where the other team is not allowing ours to perform as best as we can, the admin has to have a sanction against the other team, or we'll have to replay the game. But I doubt that that's going to be the case. So I assume there's going to be a sanction in case we actually suffer from this. There were complaints, and we complained twice. So we'll see what the overrule is going to be by the end, and that's it. We'll see.
Because I seen him.
And he's like, it's not in the rules.
I seen him go invisible, like a pause, but it's not pause. It's when you turn to the side or go backwards. So like when he spun out, then it pauses.
Because I said, look,
it was all fucked up.
It's not on expert rules.
I know.
Just go to it. If it's on expert rules, I'm wrong.
Yeah, it should be
9-1. I said if it's on expert rules, hey bro, then I'm wrong. But he's sitting there, and they already closed it all out. So I was like, it's too late. Fuel and poison. That was unlimited, right?
Y'all also had the poison.
That was messed up too. But we'll take this one. Don't worry about it.
Look, Zach, look. In the rules it says if a player does not finish the DNS race, their race will not be finished in 60 seconds.
But we never finished